I'd like to welcome everybody here to the virtual smart feeding tour at the farm of David Millar here in Sion Mills. Thanks for having us here, David. Really appreciate it. You might just tell the viewers, people out there, what kind of a farming operation you have here.
Yeah, well, main enterprise would be the poultry, taking poults to Point Lely from White Park. And then we have our beef enterprise, mainly Aberdeen Angus. And then for our main forage, grass silage and forage maize. And then we have a small AD plant as well for just running the farm in general.
In terms of beef numbers here, how many Aberdeen Anguses are you running?
Probably around, on the ground, 450 to 500, killing probably 500 to 600 a year.
Okay, very good. So let's go take a look.
Okay.
So here we are, David, down at the feed kitchen, which I'm guessing is kind of the hub of the operation here in terms of feeding.
Yes.
Would you like to describe us what exactly this is and how it's made up and what you got inside here?
Well, you've an open floor. There's squares painted on the ground, which is then on the computer. This main section here will all be silage, you have your straw and then potatoes, but you go on the computer, you can alter different squares for different ingredients, if forage maize, sugar beet and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then you have your grab knows exactly where every square is, it knows how much is in each square whenever it does a scan and stuff like that. Yeah. You have an auger to bring your meal in, and then you have two mineral bins as well, so you can feed two different minerals to your stock as well. Then the MFR and the T4C systems in the wee office there. Just
to tell the viewers, the T4C system is the software behind it.
Yes.
It's the way you interact with the vector.
That will that's number of animals in each pen, the rations that it's getting. Very easy to navigate, you know, sort of taking a couple of animals out if you kill a couple and stuff like that, you know. So very easy to work. And
so you just essentially lay out the diet that you want the animals to get, lay out if you have a different day they need to be hitting a different diet.
Yes.
And lay out how many animals are in the pen, and it calculates all that for you.
It just works everything out itself and fills the MFR accordingly. Just.
Okay, David, we're here at the Heifer House. So how many heifers do you typically feed in this house? What do you feed them? And
we're probably around about 30 to 35 per pen, 4 pens. You're probably about 140 in this house. Everything in here at the minute's all finishing. Whereas during the winter time there'll be animals starting on the curve and finishing. They're getting fed at the minute. They're getting fed silage, straw, potatoes and meal, concentrate just. And this first 2 pens have only come in around about a month now. The top pen just came in yesterday from the field. And at the minute we're killing about 10 or 15 a week.
Okay.
So we are between males and females.
So I see they're up feeding here. The vector is just after doing a feed pass here on this pen here. So what kind of feeding behaviours have you seen in this house since you went to automation? Or can you tell us actually first how you're feeding these previously, or how many diets they were getting in?
Before it would have been the tractor and feeder wagon. They would have been fed in the trough. There's a trough system for the beef, just to keep so they didn't push it out. Before you would have had your bigger, stronger animals would have been pushing up. Your weaker animals standing at the back, then left your live weight gains was all over the place. Whereas now everything's fairly even as far as daily live weight gain is concerned. All animals is coming up at the one level, which is what you want. You don't want something standing, it's only doing half a kilo a day, and someone else is doing 1.6 kilos a day, because the one at the back, it's always gonna be standing on your farm.
And was that a challenge you've seen when you're feeding at troughs? Because this is obviously just leaving the feed on the floor here. So do you find the feed fresher, or do you find it?
Oh yeah, definitely fresher. I would say since we've started now in February, this house has been cleaned once, maybe twice, but it's literally, it's just a wee run down. It's nothing stuck to the floor or anything in that sense, With your trough, you would have feed on top of feed, so naturally you've spoilage straight away.
Yeah.
But no, very, very happy with the way it's going so far.
And what about hierarchies within these? So you were saying that you saw different live weight gains depending on I suppose the dominance of the animal before.
Yes.
Are you noticing the same variations?
No, now everything's, as I say, sort of, you'll never have that half kilo one. You maybe run from 1.1 to 1.5 or something around that level, but there was too much variation on the old system.
Yeah.
You're losing out in that animal standing at the back. That animal needs to be ready. Whereas it's 4 weeks behind everything else, so you have another 4 weeks of feed to put on it.
Yeah.
So automatically you start to lose money on that animal straight away.
And do you keep that animal then, or do you see that animal eventually catch up? It just takes longer time, or do you
Just
think
takes
it's
longer time. You still have to keep the animal because it's done nothing. It hasn't done near what the bigger, stronger animal has done.
Okay. And the way it is at the moment, how long do you keep the cattle in the shed? How long would the longest animal stay in the shed, and what would the shortest stay be? So from what duration to what?
Probably always run around 80 to 90 days finishing period. These animals is on a month. There's 2 killed out of it this morning, so that's.
They must have been nearly ready before they went in at that stage.
They went in in good heart and good flesh. They're coming off good grass with a wee bit of meal in the field, but still it's a quick turnaround. Been in the house.
Okay.
Hi everyone, Martin Kavanagh the vet. Just pausing the tour for a moment. It was interesting what David was saying about the feed troughs and filling once a day. Dominant cattle will feed aggressively at feed out, and you're going to have considerable competition. Remember, those animals too are going to slug feed. They're going to eat a large meal in the one go, and that's going to increase our risk of acidosis. As that day progresses, that feed is going to become more sorted in the trough, and we're going to leave more fibre components. So our less dominant cattle are going to eat a feed with less energy in it. We're also asking the cattle to clean out that trough, and I'm not sure if that's the best idea for our feed hygiene.
So we're heading down here to the Bullock Shed, David. Are they on the same diet or different quantities, or is it the same mix? Or?
No, different diet. Heifers based sort of on 6 kilos of concentrates and about 6 kilos of potatoes. Bullock's then would be 1 kilo of each extra. Just because you're dealing with a bigger animal, bigger frame, you're always going to kill out bigger weights as well, But beauty of the vector system is on the computer, 2 seconds alters it. So.
And previously, before, when you were feeding with a mixer feeder wagon, you used to feed once a day, but you'd feed different diets, obviously, within that once a day feed.
You'd just feed the whole house, no matter what stage the pen was.
Okay.
Which left it sort of a wee bit, if your animal's just coming on to start being fed, fattened, they probably were getting too much, straight away.
Too much too soon.
Too much too soon, which have probably left you and noticed maybe the dung wasn't right or something. The stomach was just going off a wee bit too quick on you.
Yeah.
Whereas say this system now you can work it pen by pen, so you ease the stomach into the feed, in a sense.
It's interesting, just some of the points again that David has mentioned. In a conventional system, feeding a TMR to the whole shed, even if some of the pens have not adapted to the diet, is going to result in poor feed efficiency and the risk of subclinical acidosis. So getting that option to make different diets within the same shed is very important to keep animals adapting onto feed, getting them onto feed better, and making sure we don't reduce our feed efficiency. Back to you, Brian.
So here we are, David. We're in the heart of the Bullock finishing shed. So the Vector is just after coming in, and it's just after doing a push-up
Yeah.
So can you just describe to us what we're looking at here?
Well, as you see, sort of each pen half standing up. Probably that pen, you have a third up the feed fence, 2/3 lying down. It sort of shows everything's content, they're full, they're happy.
Yeah.
Before of a feeding event had to happen, which was normally once a day, everything was up, everything was forward, pushing, shoving.
Yeah.
So now everything's, you just come up, get a wee bite, and they'll go lie down again.
Yeah.
They're always eating it, it's fresh, you have no spoilage at your feed fence. No, definitely, even pushing in alone's a big benefit.
No, and there's a good shine, good healthy coat off them. They look to be really enjoying their grub. Fair play to them.
Yeah, no, they're.
So, in terms of your day-to-day interaction with the animals, with the beef animals in the farm,
Yeah.
how does it compare to before? So, what do you spend your time doing now?
Well, still, whenever the vector's feeding, you don't have that job doesn't have to be done. So you can inspect your cattle a wee bit better, checking for sore feet, maybe touching ammonia or something like that. Making sure the drinkers are clean, a lot cleaner, whereas before you spend that much time feeding. Maybe them wee jobs might seem like simple jobs as far as a drinker, but down the line as far as herd health and so, it could be a big thing. So you've more time to spend at that, whereas before something went wrong or there's a whole rush, just get them fed, we need to get on, we need to get something else done.
Can we just talk about the quality of the feeding and, compared to your old way of feeding in terms of mixed quality, in terms of animals getting their fair share of the ingredients, etc. How does it compare?
Mixed quality would be a lot better because it is all the time in the world to mix. It does its proper mix routine, it does its 6 minutes post-mix and stuff like that. Whereas the old way, you were sort of, if you're in a rush in the morning, it didn't get mixed. It was as quick as you get it into the wagon, get it back out of the wagon. But say with the vector system, that's working 24 hours a day, so it is all the time in the world to get it right.
Yeah.
And if you bought in straw and the straw is a bit longer, you can always let it mix a wee bit longer to get your optimum chop length if need be.
So you find it adaptable?
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
kind of respect? Okay.
It's interesting, David is explaining getting the mix right. Regardless of the method of mixing system, whether it's a conventional or an automatic system, this is a key to performance and getting that nutritional balance working for you. With beef cattle, I think you've got to bore them with diet consistency. So again, performance is the absence of stress. Can we get consistent mixing? Can we get those regular fresh feed events? Can we reduce the risk of subclinical acidosis? That's going to give us more even weight gain and a better output of beef per pen. So back to you, Brian and David, and thanks, David, for getting a look at your system. Appreciate it.
So, David, thanks for the look around. I think we got a little bit more of an appreciation of the feeding on the beef side of this farm. If you could just compare of the farm, how it is now compared to how it was maybe this time last year before.
Yeah, well, you sort of, in your mornings, you're not rushing to a tractor and feeder wagon. You've that time to walk around your animals, make sure everything's healthy and things like that. Busy times of the year, you can get to the field an hour earlier because you're not having to stand and feed cattle either. And kettle's doing a lot better as well, which always helps. They're better feed conversion and things like that, So, look, all in all, it's everything seems to be a wee bit of a plus.
Yeah, so more flexibility.
Yeah, more flexibility is say to get all our jobs done with a lot of work with chickens and stuff, too.
Yeah.
So you're not neglecting them by having to stand and feed cattle too. So
it's a busy yard, but it seems to be a very kind of a relaxed space.
You have to be relaxed. You're stressing out 7 days a week. So what's the point in being on it? It's everything's about trying to make things a wee bit easier
Great stuff.
in life.
So thanks for having us here.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed being here, and we really enjoyed having a look around and an appreciation for what you're doing.
No
Thanks
problem.
very much.
Thank you.
Continued success.